I've always been a very focused person in what I want to achieve in life. Right from my school days, my growing up to today. I grew up in this village, about 900 meters or a kilometer from here, Gikambura village, in a simple peasant family, but a very huge family of 13 of us. 12 from one mother and one stepbrother. And I am the second last born and last born son to my father and mother. And I grew up like any other normal child in a normal village family. As I went to school, because my father is a businessman and he's been a businessman all his life, I had the opportunity to grow up in a business family, and maybe that in a large way influenced my life later. Because even after school, I did work for some time. Then I ventured into business, and I've never looked back. We lived in a village that had no electricity, where water was hard to come by. And that, in a way, I think also later influenced me to want to change things, how things are in the area that I grew up in. And that is why I've opted even today to still live in my village and bring about the change that I would have wanted to see. At least now we have electricity, we have water, roads have improved. As you can see, I'm in a village where there is now street lighting. We could only see electricity, as you can see from here, because Kikuyu is much higher than Nairobi. We could see Nairobi from a distance at night, and we would call it Kiamatao, or the place of lights, because that's where lights were. The rest of the village was dark. And I grew up with a desire to want to live in a house where there is electricity. I never desired really to live in a house that is very decent, but at least one that had a cemented floor. I grew up in a house that didn't have a cemented floor. And I really envied those houses where people had cemented floors and walls that had cupboard lining then, or plywoods. Because mine had ngunias on the walls and cartons. That's the normal life that I grew up in. And well, we have hustled to be where we are. I will tell you, I never thought of being a politician, ever. I had dreams of being a lawyer. I worked very hard in school to do well in my exams and probably join the university and become a lawyer. Because I admired lawyers, especially the likes of Paul Mwite, who was then my member of parliament, the likes of Kitobu Manyara and others. And I had that desire to go to law school. Unfortunately, I missed law school by 2 points when with the cluster subjects that I needed to join law school. So I ended up at the University of Nairobi pursuing a bachelor's degree in economics and history. In December of 2000, I found a newspaper advertisement, and today, I tell young people this story because a lot of people believe that newspaper advertisements are done as a formality, that you can never get a job through a newspaper advertisement. And it's good to share this story because I never get enough opportunities to share it, other than those people who come to me looking for jobs. And I tell them honestly, I have no jobs I'm keeping for you. I have also to look for those job opportunities. And I give them my own experience, because my first job, other than the small business I ran for my brother and the two Ugandans for about 6 months, to March of 2001, because that's when I joined Diverse Liver, I saw my first job as a newspaper advertisement in the Daily Nation. It was Diverse Liver. I looked at the number, I called because I wanted to hand deliver the application, because the job description was fitting my qualifications. They were looking for a CPA 1 minimum, a graduate. I was a graduate with a CPA and a diploma in banking. They were looking for a cash and bank accountant. And I told myself, this is my job. least I have a diploma in banking, I'm a CPA, I have a degree in economics. And I applied for the job. I called the number that was in the advertisement, and they gave me directions where they were in Kangemi at Kuka Center, and I hand-delivered the application. That's how I got my first job. The newspaper advertisements, I mentioned, all the jobs I worked in my life were all newspaper advertisements. And I think it's good to mention that, because my second job offer, I got very frustrated. Then, by the way, I got a good salary because I was earning 27,000 shillings gross, which was a lot of money then. I was able to save 15,000 shillings every month in my circle. And I got frustrated on that first job. I lost my brother in 2002 September. And I could not even get leave to mourn my brother, and that really affected me, because I think I was given 3 days, the day before the funeral, the day of the funeral, and a day after. In September of 2002, I decided I was going to quit, and I didn't know what to do. Then I remembered I had savings in a circle. I also had pension that had accumulated in the pension fund for the company. And I approached my dad. My dad was a butcher of many years. I told him there is a bus stop stage that is being built across his plot in Kikuyu. Give me a small space where I can build a small butchery, and I'll look for some money, build a small butchery, because I want to live employed and by the end of the year. And my dad was kind enough, he gave me space. I took my first loan. I did a resignation letter. I had never taken leave the 2 years I worked there. So the MD was a very kind gentleman, Mr. Ngugi Kiuna. And I think he pitied me. Because when I took my resignation letter to him, he told me to sit down. You know, that time you could not sit in your boss's office. But he offered me a seat that day. Let me have a seat. What do you want to do? Have you found another job? I told him no. I want to go try out something else. I was even afraid to tell him what I want to go and do. So he told me, what you do, young man, don't quit your job like that. Have you ever taken leave since you joined us? I told him no. Tell me what you do, take your leave. I had, I think, 2 months leave. Since I'd worked for 3 years, and I had 28 days each year. Take your leave. After, go rest. After the leave, if you still want to quit, come back and tell me. If you want to come back to your job, I'll still have your job. And he actually took the letter and put it on his desk. And he told me, this one, I'll keep it here. Take your leave, come back after leave. So I left on 24th of December, 2002. The same day I left, I got a call from Corn Products. I had done an interview with Corn Products in Eldoret. They offered me a job paying 65,000 shillings. And that was, I think, in June of that year. And I declined the offer because the job was in Eldoret. And I asked myself, now LD, how will I be going to LD? I think I was a mama's boy then, because I was thinking, every weekend I'm able to go see my mom. Now, if I have to come see my mom every weekend, commuting from Eldoret, it would be difficult. Flights, I think flights then were about 30,000 or 25,000 shillings to and from LD. It was only take you that was flying. So I asked myself, I can only afford with this salary 1 flight in a month. I said, let me not take up the offer. So they got an opening in Ruaraka. Their head office was in Ruaraka. And they called me. And after Christmas, I went and saw the MD there, and he told me, we have this offer for a similar position for a financial accountant, like the one we had offered you in Eldoret. if you're willing, we can give you the offer at the same amount, 65k. Mind you, I was earning 31,500 shillings when I left Divers in December. So here I have a new offer now in January of 65,000 shillings. How did I get the job at Corn Products? Again, it was a newspaper advertisement. This time I think from the Standard. Because I remember when I went to Eldoret for the interview, I asked them, where did you get my CV from? And they told me, we did a newspaper ad and you applied. They offered me the job. I took the letter with me. This time, I didn't sign it there. I think I had grown horns. I was not very desperate now. In the meantime, I had built my butchery. I was building, and I planned to open it maybe in the course of the year, that year. So when I got this new offer, I knew now I have another job, so I can spend all the money I had. So I spent all the money, the 450,000 shillings. I even expanded the butchery, created some dining area and a small kitchen. By that time, the stage had come, and Valentine's of 2003, I opened my butchery on February 14th, and it did very well. And same month, I returned the offer letter to Corn Products, accepting the job. Before the end of February, I got another call for an interview at Madison Insurance. When I went for the first interview, after 2 weeks they called me for a second one. I was to start in Corn Products end of March. And by the time I was doing the second interview, I told you I was a very confident young man. I knew even these guys will give me a job offer. You called me for first interview, and the second one, you must give me that job. I was that confident. And true to it, they also gave me an offer, but they paid less. They paid 55,000 shillings. Madison Insurance. I came from manufacturing background because Divers Liver was a manufacturing company. Corn Products is in manufacturing. Insurance is all new, and they're offering less. And I thought maybe I would be better off at Corn Products. But then remember, I had a small butchery. Corn Products was in Ruaraka, EPZ. Madison Insurance was at Community. Then I owned Noka. So I had to use a KBS bus, either one bus to Community or two buses, one to town, then another one to Ruaraka. That is what informed my choice of where I would take up an offer. I thought to myself, I will wake up in the morning very early, maybe at 5, be in Dagoretti slaughterhouse by 6, get my stocks for the day, be able to get back to Kikuyu maybe by 6:37, dress up to go to the office, and I will not be able to do that if I go to Ruaraka. But Community, I might. In any case, Community reporting time was 8:30, Ruaraka was 8. I took the lesser offer of 55,000 shillings at Madison Insurance. Fortunately, in 6 months, they confirmed me and upgraded my salary to 70,000 shillings. But they never increased that salary until, I think because of that quick movement from the time I joined to 70,000 shillings. After 2 years, they increased it to 84,000 shillings, and I left in 2006, end of 2006, to join Standard Group at I&M building, which was my last formal employment. They gave me a very good job, paid me very well, about 180,000 shillings a month from 84,000 shillings. I had a very good time. I was very rich those days. Mind you, my business was still running. I purposed, I will never be anybody's slave. So I will never leave my business, and I will not be desperate. I will always have a fallback plan. So I continued running my business. I opened up 2 other small butcheries. I bought this farm then, by the way, through the butchery. and a lot of loans from the SACCO at Madison and Mahasibu SACCO, which I joined when I was still at Madison Insurance. I started farming, rearing pigs. You see them there here. I still do it from 2005 to date. I still rear pigs, and I have never left the business I started. Well, I stopped doing butchery business. It became very cumbersome when it became an MP. I left it to my sister, and two of the young men I had employed, I gave them the other two small butcheries, and one I gave to my sister. But the meat business, I'm still in it. I still trade in livestock, and I still have plans to go back to it in the very near future, to do meat cuts now.